Han Gil woke up to the low hum of the lunar outpost, the same steady sound he heard every morning. He sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes as the lights in his small room brightened. Life on the moon was quiet, predictable, and sometimes lonely, but Han Gil had learned to live with it. He was an engineer, one of the few people who kept the outpost running. Most days were simple repairs, system checks, and silent hours spent watching Earth glow in the distance. But the day everything changed began like any other. He dressed, tied his boots, and stepped into the hallway. The long corridor stretched out like a metal throat, dim lights reflecting on the polished floor. Han Gil walked toward the control room, expecting another calm day, but then the alarms began. A sharp, pulsing sound echoed through the base. He froze. Impact alert. Han Gil rushed into the control room and checked the screens. One of the surface sensors had registered a crash large, fast, and not from any Earthship. His heart started beating faster. The moon sometimes got debris impacts, but not like this. He opened a channel. "Dayseek, are you awake? We have something outside." Static answered him at first, then finally, "I see it. I am coming." His commanding officer, Dayseek, always sounded calm, but even his voice held a hint of tension. Han Gil grabbed his suit and hurried to the airlock. Outside, the lunar surface was dark, except for the distant sunlight touching the horizon. He moved carefully across the dusty ground, following the beacon that marked the crash site. When he reached it, he stopped breathing for a moment. It was a ship unlike anything he had ever seen. It was smooth and curved, almost grown rather than built, with dark, glass-like material running through the hull like veins. The surface shimmered faintly, as if it breathed. "What are you?" Han Gil whispered. The ship was cracked open on one side. Something had forced its way out, or someone. Han Gil stepped closer, shining his light into the broken interior. He expected to find machinery, wires, pipes, but instead he saw something that looked organic. Soft structures, pulse-like patterns, and a warm glow that made no sense on the cold moon. Then he heard a sound, a soft, struggling breath. He pointed his light toward the noise and saw her. A woman. At least. She looked like a woman, pale skin, long dark hair floating lightly in the weak lunar gravity, and eyes closed as if she were sleeping. She wore a strange suit that clung to her form like a second skin, shimmering with patterns he could not understand. Han Gil's mind raced. No human ship could look like this, and no human passenger could survive a crash like that. Beside her. "Can you hear me?" His voice shook despite his best effort. Her eyes opened. They glowed faintly, soft like dim stars. She looked at him with a strange familiarity, as if she had known him for years. "Han Gil," she whispered. His breath caught. "How do you know my name?" She smiled weakly, as if relieved to see him. "I found you." At last. He stared at her, stunned. "We have never met." But she shook her head. "I am your wife." Han Gil almost fell backward. His suit felt too tight. The moon's silence pressed into him. "That is impossible. I have never seen you before in my life." Her expression softened with sorrow. "Not in this life." She reached toward him, but her strength failed, and her hand dropped back to the lunar dust. Han Gil swallowed hard. He needed answers, but she was clearly injured. He called Dayseek again. "I found someone. Not human. She is alive. I need help." Dayseek's voice sharpened. "Bring her in, carefully." Han Gil lifted her gently. She was lighter than he expected. Too light, as if she were made of something less dense than human flesh. Her suit gave off faint warmth, pulsing like a heartbeat. They returned to the airlock. Dayseek and Haijin, the outpost scientist, were waiting. Their eyes widened the moment they saw her. Haijin stepped forward. She looks human, almost. She touched the strange soup with a gloved hand and pulled back quickly. This is advanced, beyond anything we know. Han Gil said nothing. His mind was still stuck on her words. I am your wife. She should not know him. She should not know his name, his face, or speak Korean with perfect pronunciation. Inside the medical room, they placed her on the bed. She opened her eyes again, staring directly at Han Gil, even as Haijin checked her vitals. You are safe now, Han Gil said carefully. But you need to explain. Who are you really? She smiled again, gentle, familiar, painful. My name is Rena. It was a simple name, easy, soft. Where did you come from? Daesik asked, arms crossed. Rena hesitated. She looked between them, but her gaze returned to Han Gil. You will not believe me, but I will tell you the truth. I crossed from another timeline, one where Earth met my people long ago. In that world, you and I were together. Haijin frowned. Another timeline? That is impossible. No, Rena whispered. Not impossible. Only unstable. And now, it is collapsing. Han Gil felt cold. Why come here? Why find me? Her eyes softened. Because you were my anchor, my reason. When everything fell apart, I followed the only thing that felt real. You. Han Gil looked away. He did not know her, but something inside him stirred, an odd pull he could not explain. Like déjà vu mixed with fear, Rena suddenly gasped, clutching the bed. The lights flickered. Haijin jumped back. Her energy levels are rising. The room shook slightly. The power monitor spiked. Rena squeezed her eyes shut, fighting something inside her. I am sorry. I need energy. I cannot control it well in this world. Han Gil stepped forward instinctively. What do you need? Rena opened her glowing eyes again. Not blood, if that is what you fear. I feed on energy, heat, light, power. I took only a little from your systems. I did not want to harm you. Haijin stared at her. You are some kind of energy vampire. Rena winced as if the word hurt her. Not by choice. It is how my kind survived. But I will not harm this place. I promise. Daesik whispered. We should report this immediately. Han Gil shook his head. She needs help. And she is the only one who knows what happened out there. He looked at Rena again. When you said your timeline collapsed, what did you mean? Rena breathed slowly, calming the glow in her eyes. Something hunts the paths between worlds. It destroyed my home. It followed me here. Han Gil's blood ran cold. Something followed you? Here? To the moon? Rena nodded. Yes, and if we do not prepare, this world will fall like mine. Rena lay on the medical bed, her breathing slow and uneven, as the machines beside her blinked with confused readings. Han Gil stood near, trying to understand everything she had said. Another timeline. A marriage that never happened in this world. A creature hunting across realities. He felt like his mind was splitting. Daesik stepped outside to send a secure message to Earth Command, while Haijin typed notes at a frantic pace, trying to understand Rena's biology. Han Gil, however, remained by Rena's side, unable to look away from her calm, strange face. Rena's eyes slowly opened again. She stared at Han Gil with the same soft familiarity, as if she already knew what he would say. You still do not believe me, she whispered. Han Gil hesitated. I don't know what to believe. Rena gave a faint nod, accepting his answer. I understand. In your world, I am a stranger. But in mine, we lived together for many years. She paused. You saved me once. And now I have come to save you." Han Gil did not answer. He looked at the machines again. "Your energy levels were dangerous. What happened back there? Why did the system spike when you—" "Fed?" Rena sighed softly. "My body adjusts when it enters a different timeline. I need energy to stabilize. It is only temporary. But I did not mean to cause trouble." Hygiene approached with a scanner, her expression tight with worry. "Your energy field is unstable. It interacts with our technology in unpredictable ways. If it gets stronger, you might damage the entire outpost." Rena looked away. "I know. I am trying to control it." Han Gil remembered the flickering lights, the shaking rooms. "You said something followed you. What exactly is after you?" Rena lifted her eyes again, and for a moment Han Gil saw fear in them. Real fear. It is a creature that travels between timelines. It feeds on collapsing worlds. It destroyed mine. It eats energy, matter, and life. It chases anything that escapes the fall of a timeline. Hyjin froze. "How far behind you could it be?" "I do not know," Rena answered. "But I feel it closer every hour." Han Gil's skin prickled. The moon was quiet, empty, and fragile. If such a creature reached it, the outpost would be the first thing it consumed. A sudden alarm from the control room interrupted them. Desik rushed back inside. "We have a problem. Several lunar satellites just went dark." Han Gil frowned. "Dark? As in power failure?" Desik shook his head. "No, as in something drained them completely. They lost all energy in seconds." Rena closed her eyes. "It has found me." Everyone looked at her. Han Gil spoke first. "You are certain?" "Yes," she whispered. "That creature absorbs energy on a massive scale. The more it feeds, the stronger it becomes. It destroyed every system in my world before taking the sky." Desik straightened. "If this is true, we must alert command immediately." Hyjin shook her head. "If we tell them an interdimensional monster is coming, they won't believe us." Rena touched the bed rail weakly. "They will believe soon, when more satellites fall." The room filled with a tense silence. Han Gil felt a strange mix of fear and responsibility swelling inside him. He didn't know this woman, but she knew him deeply, painfully. If her words were true, he had once been her husband. That thought alone made his chest feel tight. He took a breath. "Rena, how did we meet in your world?" Rena smiled faintly, as if she had been waiting for that question. "You were an engineer, just like here. You repaired my ship after it was damaged by a solar storm. You were gentle, patient, and curious. We talked for hours. You made me laugh." Han Gil felt a strange warmth in his chest, like an echo of a memory he didn't have. "And we fell in love?" he asked quietly. Rena nodded. "Yes." Hyjin stepped back, uncomfortable with the growing tension. She went to check the readings again. Desik crossed his arms. "Even if this is true, we need to focus. If this creature is near the moon, we are all in danger." Rena weakly pushed herself up, and Han Gil helped her. "I can help you fight it," she said softly. "My people created a device that stabilizes timelines. It can trap the creature between worlds, but it was damaged when I crossed over." Han Gil asked, "Where is it?" "In my ship," Rena said. "The crash broke it, but the core might still work." Desik nodded. "Then we need a team to inspect the wreck." Hyjin added, "I will go. I want to understand this device." Rena shook her head weakly. "The ship may react badly to unfamiliar humans. But Han Gil can go. My ship will recognize him." Han Gil blinked. "Why me?" "Because in my world, you were my partner," Rena whispered. "Your biological signature is similar enough." The ship will trust you. Daisik hesitated, then finally nodded. Fine, Han Gil. Prepare for Eva. Haijin, guide him over comms. Rena, stay here and rest. Rena reached out, gently touching Han Gil's arm. Her hand was cool but soft. Be careful. The ship is hurt and frightened. It might react like a living creature. He nodded. I'll be fine. Minutes later, Han Gil stepped onto the lunar surface again. The crash site glowed faintly in the distance. He moved slowly toward it, breathing steadily inside his suit. The ship looked even stranger now. The broken hull pulsed like a wounded animal. As he approached, the ground trembled faintly. Han Gil, Haijin said through the comms. I'm reading unusual energy signatures. Be careful. He climbed into the cracked opening. Inside, the organic surfaces shifted gently, like muscles beneath skin. The air inside the ship felt warmer, almost alive. Rena said the stabilizer is near the center. Haijin reminded him. Han Gil followed a faint trail of glowing lines along the walls. They responded to his presence, lighting up brighter as he walked. It really does recognize me? He muttered. He reached a chamber filled with a floating crystal-like core, cracked and leaking dim light. This must be it, Haijin said. Han Gil reached out slowly. The core pulsed once softly, like a heartbeat. Then it showed him something. A flash of a memory, not his. Himself. Standing beside Rena in a different world, smiling at her as she laughed softly. He gasped and stepped back. Han Gil? What happened? Haijin asked. I saw something, he whispered. The core showed me memories. Maybe from her timeline. He took a steady breath and lifted the damaged core as he turned to leave. The ship shuddered. Then a deep, distant roar echoed through the moon's thin atmosphere, so faint it was almost impossible. Yet he heard it. Haijin's voice shook. Han Gil. A new energy spike just appeared near the moon's dark side. Han Gil tightened his grip on the core. The creature had arrived. Han Gil moved as quickly as possible across the silent lunar surface, holding the damaged core close to his chest. The strange roar still echoed faintly in his ears, even though sound should not travel in the moon's thin atmosphere. It was not a physical sound. It felt like something pressed directly onto his mind, like a warning or a hunt. Han Gil, come back now, Haijin said through the comms. Her voice trembled. The energy spike is growing fast. Whatever it is heading this way. He breathed hard. I'm coming. He forced himself to move faster. The outpost came into view like a small metal island in the gray dust. Lights flickered inside the windows, as if the power system were straining again. Han Gil entered the airlock, and as soon as the inner doors closed, Daisik and Haijin rushed in. Haijin reached for the core. Let me see it. Han Gil handed it to her carefully. It reacted to me. It showed me something. Memories, maybe hers. It wants repair. Haijin studied the cracks along its surface. This kind of tech. I've never seen anything like it. It looks alive. Daisik looked toward the medical room. We need Rena. She has to explain how to fix it. When they entered the room, Rena slowly lifted her head. Her eyes seemed dimmer, as though she were weakening. But the moment she saw the core, she reached out both hands. You found it. Good. Haijin placed it in her hands. The core pulsed once, and Rena's expression softened with relief. It is damaged, but not dead. I can show you how to repair it. Rena's voice was quiet but steady. Before we begin, Daisik said, you must tell us exactly what is coming. What kind of creature destroys timelines? How do we fight something like that? Rena closed her eyes for a moment, as if remembering something painful. It is called a Void Reaver. My people gave it that name because it feeds on the emptiness between worlds. It senses instability and follows it like a scent. When a timeline becomes weak, it comes to consume it. It devours anything that exists: energy, matter, light, life. And when it grows full, it tears open the next world. Han Gil felt a chill in his spine. And it followed you here? Yes. Rena looked at him with guilt. Because I crossed to this world, I made a wound in reality. That wound led it to your moon. It will not stop until it feeds. Daysik rubbed his forehead, trying to stay calm. How long do we have? Not long, Rena whispered. If it has already drained satellites, then it is close. It may reach this outpost within hours. Haijin clenched her fists. Then we have to repair the device fast. Rena nodded. I will guide you, but I need energy to stay awake. She looked apologetic. Your systems can give me a small amount. Not enough to hurt anything. Daysik hesitated. How small? Rena lifted her hand, showing the faint glow in her palm. Very small. Only enough to keep me conscious. Haijin adjusted the power controls. I'll set a limit. You will get only what I choose to give. That is fine, Rena said softly. The room dimmed slightly as she drew a tiny stream of energy from the system. Her eyes brightened again. Now, Rena said, looking at Haijin and Han Gil, this device needs 3 things: alignment, stabilization, and activation. I cannot do it alone. My body is too weak. I need both of you. Han Gil stepped closer. Tell us what to do. For the next hour, Rena explained each part of the device. Haijin followed every instruction with focused eyes, taking careful notes. Han Gil worked with his tools, adjusting the cracked core, replacing tiny elements, and repairing the energy conductor that had shattered in the crash. Rena watched them with quiet pride. You work well together. In my world, you did the same. Han Gil felt something tighten in his chest. He didn't know if he wanted to hear that. He didn't know how to handle the idea that some other version of him lived. A life with her. He tried to stay focused. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Violently, the whole outpost trembled. Daysik ran into the room. Another satellite just went dead. And this time, the energy signature came from much closer. It's moving fast across the lunar surface. Haijin's eyes widened. Is it coming here? Rena closed her eyes, and the pulse beneath her skin flashed. Yes, it knows where I am. Han Gil felt fear rise inside him. Can it survive the vacuum? Rena nodded slowly. It does not need air. It feeds on pure energy. Physical form means nothing to it. Daysik grabbed a communicator. All staff prepare emergency lockdown procedures. Power shields on. Reduce all unnecessary energy output. His voice was steady, but fear hid beneath it. Power shields won't stop it, Rena whispered. Nothing will stop it. Only the stabilizer can. Haijin looked at the nearly repaired device. We need more time. She adjusted the final component. Just a little more? The ground shook again harder this time. Han Gil steadied himself. It's here. Something scraped across the outer hall. A deep vibration rolled through the outpost, as if something massive pressed against the walls. A low, crawling hum filled the air. Not sound something deeper, pressing inside their minds. Han Gil felt like invisible claws were dragging across his thoughts. Haijin shook her head, gripping the table. I can't focus. What is this feeling? Its presence, Rena whispered. It breaks the mind before it breaks the body. Daysik shouted from the hallway. All lights are dimming. It's draining our power. Rena pulled herself up on the bed. We must activate the core. Now. Haijin looked at the device. But it's not fully stable. If we activate it too early, we don't have a choice, Rena said, her voice breaking. It will tear this outpost apart. Then it will go for Earth. Han Gil swallowed hard. Tell us how to start it. Rena nodded weakly and placed her hand on the core. The glow inside it brightened, spreading across its cracked surface. Han Gil, she whispered, you must hold the conductor. Your energy is similar to mine in this timeline. It will respond to you. Han Gil took a deep breath and placed his hand on the conductor. It felt warm alive. Rena placed her other hand over Haijin's, guiding her to the final alignment point. The entire outpost trembled again. Dust fell from the ceiling. A loud metallic groan echoed through the hallways. It's breaking in. Daysik shouted. Rena spoke fast, her voice trembling. Now! Activate it now! Haijin took a breath and flipped the final switch. The core exploded with light. For a moment, the entire outpost was filled with a blinding glow. Warm and powerful dot, then a scream deep, monstrous. Echoing without sound ripped through their minds. The creature felt the device, dot it was afraid. The lights went out, and everything fell silent. The silence after the explosion of light felt heavy, like the entire outpost had stopped breathing. Han Gil blinked rapidly, waiting for his eyes to adjust. The glow from the stabilizer faded little by little, and shapes slowly came back into focus. He saw Rena slumped forward, her hand still resting weakly on the core. Haijin held the edge of the table for support, her face pale. Is everyone okay? Han Gil asked, his voice rough. Haijin nodded shakily. I think so, but the power is completely gone. She checked the readings, though the screen was dead. Whatever we did, it drained everything. A deep rumble echoed through the metal walls again. This time it felt angrier. Rena opened her eyes. The soft glow behind them flickered. It is still out there. The device heard it, but did not trap it. We activated it too early. Han Gil's chest tightened. Then what do we do now? Rena looked at the core with sadness. The stabilizer needs more energy. More than this outpost can give. If we activate it again without enough power, it will fail completely. Haijin swallowed. Do you mean the reactor? We can't risk that. If the reactor goes critical, the floor shook violently, and Haijin stumbled. Daysik ran into the room, sweat on his forehead. It is breaking into the outer structure. I saw the metal warp like it was being melted from the inside. We do not have long. Rena tried to sit up. The creature wants me. If I leave the outpost, it might follow me away from the reactor and from you. Han Gil shook his head. No, you can barely stand. I must stand, Rena whispered. I caused this. I brought it here. Han Gil reached for her arm gently. We are not abandoning you. Tell us how to trap it. There must be a way. Rena stared at him with tired eyes. There is one way. The stabilizer can be charged with a living source. A strong one. Someone who can survive the energy transfer long enough to activate it. But it must be a person the device recognizes. Haijin looked confused. Recognizes? You mean you? Rena shook her head slowly. No, I am too weak now. The only person the device responded to with strength was Han Gil. The room fell silent. Han Gil stepped back slightly. Me? But I don't have your abilities. I'm just an engineer. Rena held his gaze. In my world, you had the same energy pattern as now. My ship recognized you because the bond we shared left a trace on your soul. Even in this timeline, the stabilizer feels that echo. It trusts you. Her voice softened. It always did? Han Gil felt his heartbeat quicken. If I do this, what happens to me? Rena looked down. You may survive. or you may lose consciousness. Or worse, the energy transfer will be painful. But you are the only one who can activate it with full power before the creature breaks through. Dae-Sik stepped forward. Han-Gil, you do not have to do this. We can find another way. We can delay it. But they all knew the truth. The creature was already here. Time was almost gone. Another loud crack echoed from the hallway, metal tearing. The creature was inside the outer passage. Now Han-Gil closed his eyes for a moment. He tried to steady his breathing. He didn't ask for any of this. He didn't understand much of it. But he understood one thing. If he didn't act, everyone would die. And Earth would come next. He opened his eyes. Rena, tell me how to do it. Rena stared at him with a mixture of fear and admiration. You must place your hand on the core again. When the stabilizer begins to glow, it will pull energy from your body. You must not pull away, no matter how painful it becomes. Once the core brightens to full light, I will activate the final sequence. Haijin looked at him with concern. This could kill you. Han-Gil nodded. I know. But if I don't do it, all of us die anyway. Dae-Sik rested a hand on his shoulder. We will back you up, no matter what happens. Another deep vibration rattled the room. The lights flickered even though the outpost had no power. It is close, Rena whispered. Han-Gil moved to the core. His hand hovered above it. It pulsed gently, as if recognizing him. He took a deep breath and pressed his palm onto the surface. A sharp jolt of energy shot up his arm. His body tensed, and he clenched his teeth. The core lit up with a dim glow. Good, Rena said. Do not let go. Han-Gil nodded, though pain spread through his arm like fire. The glow grew brighter. Behind them, the hallway groaned with a sickening metallic crunch. Something heavy and wrong moved through the shadows. Haijin grabbed a metal pipe and stood near the doorway, though she knew it would not help. Dae-Sik stood beside her, ready to defend the room with anything he could. A cold wind impossible and a sealed outpost swept through the hall. Lights flickered violently, then died. From the darkness crawled a shape twisted tall, shifting like smoke and shadow. Its form changed every second, as though it was made of several unfinished bodies, moving at once. No eyes, no mouth, just a deep hollow where a face should be. Haijin let out a shaky breath. That thing. Dae-Sik stepped in front of her. Stand back. The creature moved closer, each step crackling with hungry energy. The metal floor darkened beneath it. Rena lifted her hand toward it, her voice shaking. Reaver, I am here. It turned toward her. Even without eyes, it seemed to see her. Han-Gil felt a surge of pain rip through him. He grit his teeth and forced himself to stay connected to the core. The stabilizer glowed brighter, pulsing, alive. You're doing it, Rena whispered. Just a little more. The creature lunged. Dae-Sik swung a metal bar, hitting the side of the monster. The bar melted instantly. The creature didn't even react. It passed by them, moving straight toward Rena. Haijin pulled Dae-Sik away. Run. You can't fight it. Rena pushed herself off the bed, stumbling but determined. Han-Gil, hold on. Han-Gil cried out as a new wave of energy tore through him. His body trembled violently. The core shone brighter and brighter, filling the room with blinding white. The Void Reaver reached toward Rena. Rena stepped between it and Han-Gil. She didn't move. Aside, she didn't hide. She faced it. You will not take him again, she whispered. The creature slammed into an invisible barrier around her, formed by the stabilizer's growing energy. It howled in silent rage. Han-Gil, Rena shouted. Now, push your energy into the core. Han-Gil felt his strength fading. His legs shook. His vision blurred, but he forced himself to lean in, pressing his hand harder against the core. The light exploded. A wave of pure energy shot out from the stabilizer, passing through Rena, through Han Gil, through the walls of the outpost. The Void Reaver screamed not in sound, but in every mind present. It twisted violently, its form breaking apart, pulled backward as if some invisible force dragged it into a void. The stabilizer pulsed once, twice, then unleashed a final brilliant flash. The creature vanished. Silence returned. Han Gil collapsed to his knees. His vision swam. He barely felt Haijin catch him. Rena fell too, her energy completely drained. Daisik stared at the now dim stabilizer. Is it over? Haijin looked around the room. I think we won. Han Gil tried to speak, but could barely manage a whisper. Rena crawled closer to him, weak but alive. She touched his cheek with a trembling hand. You saved this world, like you once saved mine. Han Gil forced a tired smile, but he didn't know that the final consequence of the stabilizer was still coming, and the cost of victory would soon reveal itself. Han Gil walked slowly through the silent lunar base as the alarms finally grew quiet. The air smelled faintly of burnt cables and metal dust, the result of the last violent attack from the Predator. His arms felt heavy, and his steps dragged, but he kept moving because he knew Rena was waiting for him in the central control chamber. She sat near the cracked console, her pale hands folded on her lap. Her eyes, bright yet tired, followed him as he approached. The stabilizer device stood behind her, humming softly. Its energy rings pulsed in slow waves, shining like dim blue light. The battle had damaged it, but it still functioned. It just needed time. Rena leaned back, breathing slowly, every breath showing the strain she had taken during the fight. The energy she had released to shield Han Gil had pushed her to her limit. She tried to hide how weak she felt, but Han Gil saw it. He sat beside her and handed her a warm pack of nutrient gel. She accepted it with a faint smile, though her hands trembled. She lifted the pack to her lips, drinking quietly as Han Gil spoke. Daisik and Haijin started repairs on the outer modules. They said the Predator's energy signature is fading. I think we've won. Rena nodded, but did not look relieved. Her gaze drifted to the stabilizer. Its glow flickered, and she watched it as if she feared it might vanish. Are you worried about the device? Han Gil asked. She shook her head. Not the device. The timeline bridge that it opened is closing by itself. It is what is supposed to happen. But the collapse, it will force something else. Her voice wavered. Han Gil straightened, sensing she was about to tell him something she did not want to say. Tell me. Whatever it is, we'll deal with it. Her fingers twisted around each other. She turned to him fully. If I remain in this timeline while the bridge closes, my memories connected to the other reality will not survive. They will be erased. The timeline will rewrite everything related to the version of you that I knew. Han Gil felt a slow tightening in his chest. He stared at her, unable to speak for several seconds. You mean, you'll forget everything? Everything about us? Even if it was not this version of me? Yes, she whispered. I will forget the marriage, the years we lived together, the promises we made. I will forget the first time we met. I will forget the sound of your voice as I once knew it. The thought felt heavy, almost unbearable. Rena bowed her head. But if I return to my own timeline, I will vanish from this one forever. You will never see me again. The humming of the stabilizer seemed to grow louder, like a quiet ticking clock, counting the seconds they had left. Han Gil closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered how she looked at him when she first arrived, like she had found someone precious she had lost. She had risked her life for him more than once. She had fought the Predator while starved and weakened. She had chosen him even though he was not the same man she remembered. He opened his eyes and looked at her. "So what do you want to do?" he asked softly. She did not answer at first. Her voice trembled when she finally spoke. "I want to stay, even if I lose those memories, even if it means starting again." Han Gil felt something warm and painful rise in his chest. He reached out and held her hand gently. "You won't be alone. If you lose your memories, we'll make new ones." Her eyes softened. She squeezed his hand, as if trying to memorize the feeling before it could be taken from her. The stabilizer emitted a high, sharp tone. Rena stood slowly. "It is time. The bridge is closing now." Han Gil stood with her. The air near the device shimmered like rippling water. Rena stepped closer to it, and the blue light wrapped around her like a soft veil. She closed her eyes as the energy pulsed. Han Gil watched as faint images flickered around her, shadows of another reality. A warm house, a shared smile, 2 rings glinting in soft light. Then the images flickered faster, breaking apart. Her breathing hitched. She stumbled, and Han Gil caught her before she fell. "It's happening," she whispered. "They're disappearing." He held her carefully, steadying her as the light grew brighter. Her memories were unwinding like threads, breaking one by one. Her grip on his shirt tightened, then loosened. Seconds later, the light burst outward in a silent wave. Then it faded. The stabilizer dimmed. The timeline bridge was gone. Rena sagged in his arms. Her eyes opened slowly, confused and distant. She looked at him. He waited. Her lips parted slightly. "Who are you?" The words cut like a blade, but he stayed calm. He smiled gently. "My name is Han Gil," he said. "You're safe. You're with me." She blinked at him, studying his face. Not with recognition, just curiosity. Her fear slowly faded. "Han Gil," she repeated softly, trying the name as if it were new. He nodded. "You don't have to remember anything right now. I'll help you. One step at a time." Her expression slowly relaxed. She leaned against him, exhausted. "Thank you," she whispered. Daysik and Hygiene soon arrived, both appearing tired but relieved. Han Gil explained what happened. They looked at Rena with sympathy, but accepted the situation. As the lunar base system stabilized, the 4 of them prepared to return to Earth. Han Gil walked with Rena toward the transport shuttle. She moved slowly, unsure of her steps, but she stayed close to him. The airlock opened, revealing the shuttle's interior. Earth hung in the distance, a blue sphere glowing in silence. Rena paused at the entrance and looked at it. "Is that home?" she asked. Han Gil smiled gently. "Yes, for both of us." She nodded. A small, uncertain smile appeared on her lips. They boarded the shuttle together. As the engines powered up and the craft lifted from the moon's surface, Rena sat beside him, still learning this world she had chosen. Han Gil looked ahead, feeling something warm settle in his chest. She had lost everything she once had, but she had chosen to stay. And now they had a chance to build something new, something real, without the weight of a past he never lived. As the stars drifted past the window, he reached for her hand. This time, she took it without hesitation. And in that quiet moment, a new beginning unfolded, one shaped not by fate, not by broken timelines, but by choice.